What's your biggest "this isn't what it looks like" moment? I used to take my kids to different playgrounds as they were growing up. Oftentimes I'd be out there with them, chasing them, being the random monster slash dragon slash antagonist while they run away and then eventually turn around and chase me back. Inevitably, since the rest of the parents were on their iPhones or doing anything but interacting with their kids, I'd end up with a collection who wanted to join in the fun. It was all going well until they said they wanted to play Minecraft. So as a group of kids suddenly scatter from where I'm standing yelling run away from the creeper, I look up to see a line of parents suddenly jostled back into consciousness with absolutely no friggin' context whatsoever. I had a somewhat similar incident. Years ago I took my then 4-year-old daughter to play in a park in Chicago. There were quite a few families there, including an Asian family with 5 or 6 kids. She played with them for a while until they decided to leave. My daughter decided to leave with them and followed them, so I told her she couldn't. I took her hand and began to lead her away, but she started screaming no and crying hysterically, trying to pull away to get back to her friends. Here's the thing, my daughter is Asian. I'm not. So while the Asian family walked away and my daughter continued to raise a racket and fight me, and I continued to pull her in the opposite reaction, I had to explain to all the large approaching fathers the situation. They hesitated to believe me until my daughter finally inserted a daddy into her stream of no's. It was my 3rd day at my new office job. When I washed my hands, my pants touched the countertop, which was covered with water. Naturally, I now look like I peed myself and had a giant 6x6 soaked area around my crotch. I couldn't walk around with that, so I thought to use a hand dryer. However, the hand dryer was the type that you stick your hands in rather under. So I line up and basically mount this hand dryer like I'm looking for a good time. I look at myself in the mirror, and as I start thinking this won't look good if, and of course the Shio walks in before I could finish the thought and react. He looks at me and in deadpan voice says, "Do I need to call ours?" To which I responded, "No, it's consensual." We had a good laugh about it, and he never let me forget that moment. One time during my teens, I was using my grandparents' computer to look up video game cheat codes. I was worried they might disapprove that I was using cheats, so when my grandfather walked into the room, I quickly minimized the window and turned around to say hello and ask what he needed. His response, "Oh, nothing important, I'll just come back later." He almost seemed to be rushing out. I turned back to the computer screen in confusion to see that minimizing the window had revealed a poor graphic pop-up at hiding in the background. I was super embarrassed. He never mentioned it though. More of this isn't what it sounds like. A family we were close to had just moved to the US from India. They had a young daughter, like 5 years old, who was still learning English. One day she fell down the stairs while playing outside. She ran in crying and saying, "The stairs hit me." Once she calmed down, her dad corrected her and said, No, you mean to say I fell down the stairs." A few days later my dad was showing them the grocery store. In the checkout line the cashier saw the girl's bruised up legs and asked what happened. The daughter responded with, "What did you tell me to say, Dad?" "Oh right. I fell down the stairs." He had a fun time explaining that to the police. Oh lord, my sister did almost the exact same thing. When I was very young, my sister ran face first into a door frame and got her first black eye. She was maybe 5 or 6 at the time. She asked my dad what to tell the teachers because she was embarrassed, and he replied, "Just tell them the truth." Flash forward to the next school day, my father gets a call. Apparently when asked, my sister had repeatedly replied with, "My daddy told me to say I ran into the door." Context, background info really helps out on cases like this. Once a teacher was in full panic when her elementary student told her that every morning his dad puts his pee-pee on his pee-pee. Police were called, Children's Protective Services asked questions, and dad wasn't allowed to pick his kid up from school because he was being accused as a Rex offender. What the child meant was that he urinates in the toilet and then dad urinates afterwards. Rather than placing his penis on his child's pee-pee, a simple question such as "What is a pee-pee?" and no panic needed. I was 16 and my parents just left the house for a dinner out. I had to do laundry, So I start right after they left the door to get it done as early as possible. As I'm filling the machine I notice a stain on my shirt, and so I put it with the rest of the clothes. I also look at my pants and decide to add them as well along with my socks and duck it my underwear as well. So I'm butt naked and I start the machine. I rush to the stairs to get to my room and dress up, and that's when the front door, which is right where the stairs are, opens and I freeze. My dad comes in and sees me naked. We both aren't moving a few seconds and then he laughs, grabs his wallet on the table and says, "So that's what you are doing while we aren't here?" He then closes the door while giggling. I'm there still in shock and red as a beet. I rush to dress and call my parents on my mother's cell phone to tell them it's not what they think, as they are just laughing their asses off. I used to work security/reception at my company, so I greeted everyone when they came in the door and made sure they were wearing their security badge. You could either wear your badge on a lanyard around your neck or on a retractable belt clip. So I've been doing this job for like 2 years. When I'm outside talking to some of the girls that work on the second floor, one of them just flat out asks why I always check out women when they come in to visit. Excuse me? Turns out there was a lot of talk about how I was looking women up and down when they came through the door. Well, I was looking everyone up and down. I would look at their chest first, and if there was no badge there, my eyes would move to their belt. It was kind of my job and stuff. I work as a manager at a grocery store. Some cashiers aren't old enough to scan alcohol, so I have to do it for them. I made a comment to a female cashier after the 4th time she called me over. "I can't wait until you're 19. Took me a few seconds to realize what I said in front of customers. My boyfriend and I had a fight and both went to bed grumpily. We were housemates and had separate bedrooms. In the middle of the night I heard a loud thump in the living room area of the house. I grabbed my baseball bat and went through the whole house with the bat and the lights on. Every closet, every cupboard, etc. Nothing was out of order and the doors were locked. I was still spooked and running high on adrenaline. It was about 4:30 in the morning and I had to get up at 6, so I just gave up on going back to sleep before that. I debated what to do for the hour and a half and decided to go to IHOP, open 24H where I live. As I was about to leave I realized that if I left my sleeping boyfriend in the house and the murderer was actually still there and killed him, I would feel extremely guilty. So I went to wake him up just enough to warn him before I left for IHOP. He woke up to me leaning over his bed, holding a bat and whispering about murder. He almost cried. Edit. Some people have been interested, so in case you were wondering, my username is from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series by Douglas Adams, which I highly recommend. Oh man. Sitting at a traffic light when I was 18. Wanted to get something out of my pocket. Chapstick I think. I was wearing jeans that, when sitting, might as well have locked pockets. I keep my eyes forward so I can see if the light turns green while I dig into my pocket. Have to kind of thrust my hips upwards and move a bit to reach my hand fully into my jeans. During my gyrating pocket quest I make eye contact with a girl crossing the crosswalk. I'm a guy. A look of horror crosses her face and she says something to her friend. The other girl gives me a disgusted look as well, and they hurry across the crosswalk. I'm sure it looked bad from their perspective. My friend told me that he gets stuck in traffic on the way home from work every day, so he has a small bongo drum that he keep in his car so he can practice rhythm along with the song on the radio. He also mentioned other people in cars next to him give him weird looks. I told him it's probably because they only really see you shoulder up while you beat your drum. I will preface this by saying a couple of weeks prior to this, my wife had bought some frilly underwear on clearance sale and a couple of bananas to eat on the way to work. I was chilling in the car at the store while she went in when I smelled nasty overripe bananas. I reached into the backseat and pulled out the bag that had been forgotten back there. I take the underwear out of the bag and tie the old banana up dog poo style. No big deal, right? For whatever reason, My brain goes, I wonder if these brand new underwear now reek of old squishy banana, and I put them to my nose and take a big whiff right as a sweet old lady pulls into the parking spot in front of our car. She looks at me, panties pressed into my nose, inhaling deeply. Her eyes go wide with shock and visibly shaking. She pulls back out of the spot and drives away. Literally leaves. Shopping trip cancelled. I know I had to look like some kind of degenerate pervert on a public minge binge, but it wasn't what it looked like. TLDR, looked like a dirty panty sniffing weirdo in the grocery store parking lot. Nearly make old lady stroke out in horror. Ducking. Subscribe to Reddit throne. Ducking. Subscribe to Reddit throne.